Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. I can put it down a bit. It's like on my nose.
Oh yeah. All you see is the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question. How to word it? Experience of awakeness and letting things be. But then there's a deep sense of there's something wrong. And there's great evidence for it also because I have experienced chronic pain in the body.
Yeah.
And even with that, I mean, that's often... I mean, it's been a really great guide in lots of ways because it's allowed me to let go or surrender.
It's an immovable force, isn't it? Surrender or suffer, even more. Yeah.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's there's just always that, even in the, when you're really quiet and there's that, it feels like right even in the genetics, there's that movement away from it.
Yes.
That this is...
And so what's that like, right? The movement away from this, right? That's that sense that something's wrong. Even in the thought, not only is it wrong, but I don't want to feel this way. That's another thought.
Yeah.
And what actually happens? What do you experience when those thoughts are believed? Because they seem true, right? I don't want to feel this way. It seems so true. Who in their right mind wouldn't have that thought if they experience pain? But then you look, what is the result? What happens when you believe the thought? Does it actually alleviate anything?
No, it doesn't alleviate anything.
What does it cause?
It causes suffering and contraction. Yeah,
so now you got pain, suffering, and contraction. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because the thought is taken to be true. So what your body is then experiencing your thought. I don't want this. The suffering and the contraction is your body experiencing the thought. That's what's happening. Not a very good payoff, is it?
Doesn't seem so.
You start with pain, and now you have suffering and contraction on top of it. All because the thought arises innocently, spontaneously. You didn't ask for it. I don't want this. And then it's believed. Innocently believed, spontaneously believed, taken as true. I don't want this. And then it produces suffering, contraction.
And I feel like, I've seen that cycle happen many times. And I guess I just feel like in some way I keep getting caught in that same pattern. There's times when, everything's just awake and it's fine.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, you can just be with it.
Yeah.
Surrender to it.
Yeah.
But then at some point, obviously a point that I generally miss, I get hooked back in. What can I do to fix this? How can I control this? How can I...
Yes. There it is, right there. What can I do to fix this?
Nothing.
Well, that's true. You can say, there's nothing I can do to fix this, and that's true, and if you get that that's true through and through, then there's nothing more to look at. It's a done deal. But what I found for most people, it's not quite that simple for most people. Right? Then you look at, what am I experiencing? I don't want this. That's what you're experiencing. You see, what I'm getting at is, because inside of you, it's a human thing. It's not just a you thing. It's a human consciousness thing. Something deeply unconscious thinks that by resisting pain, it's going to help us. That's what we think. That's our conditioning. Resist pain, it will bring me more pleasure. It will help me. It will help me deal with this pain if I resist it. Or whatever it is, this moment. It will help me deal with this moment, manage this moment if I resist it. That's within human consciousness. Then you get the opportunity. Is it true? Does life actually work that way? Does resisting things actually make them better? Or create new and more extreme levels of suffering? You see what I mean? Now, I can't necessarily tell you. I know that your mind would like me to tell you something that would guarantee that this cycle will never happen again. I understand that. That's natural. But how can I put it nicely? Forget about that. Because nobody knows anything about the next moment, do we? The next moment may arise, but what I want to give you is the question. And not the question for your head, but the question that links your head to your heart, your head to your body. So what happens when you see that this resistance of pain, resistance of everything, actually causes a new level of suffering? What happens when that is seen? What's experienced? You just see it. All it does is cause suffering. That's all it's ever done in my life, is cause a layer of suffering on top of whatever's happening. When you see it, what effect does it have in the moment?
I don't know at the moment. I can't see it.
I know, because you went up into your head for a moment, which is what we human beings do. But right when I asked you a question, as your eyes were closing, and you notice your body exhaled and your shoulders dropped about half an inch, that's what happens. See? Because the truth is in the body, it's not in here. It's not in the mind. It's like, what happens? Oh, the shoulders drop. The breath exhales. There's not as much tension.
I'm waiting for an answer. Not from you, but when you asked that question to me,
yeah,
that's what I was waiting for.
Yeah, I know.
I was waiting for an answer.
Your body's the answer, right? Because what happens isn't like what a nice thought that you're being asked to come up with. It's like, what's the experience right now? Oh, I see. With my whole being, that this idea that says, I don't want, no matter what it is, I don't want this. What is I don't want, I don't want, I don't want? I mean, you can feel the body just going, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want, tightening. And you see, oh, that's all it ever produced. That's all the thought ever produces, is tightness, right? Nothing else has ever been produced by a thought like that. And when you see, oh, that's all it produces. That's all. Nothing else. There's no hope of it ever producing anything else, you see. Just seeing that, the system starts to let go of it. You're not even trying to let go. The body just relaxes. But what was your question for me?
I don't remember.
All right. Yeah. See, this is the thing is it's such a hard thing to get across because it's very, very subtle. Number one, we don't have to be victims of circumstance. Some bodies have pain. Everybody is going to have pain at some point. Some bodies have more pain than others. Some bodies have pain that just goes on and on and on and on and doesn't really end. You never know. And you can't necessarily end pain, can we? No spiritual teacher that knew anything ever said, hey folks, I got a way to end all pain. So that, when I hit you on the head with a hammer, it won't hurt. That's ridiculous.